because he wasn't about himself. You know, he didn't care about that type of thing. If he was here, to tell us, he would turn to all of us and say, all these things we're saying about him, say, cut that crap out. I don't want to hear it. Forget it. You would just point us in a different direction. But some of this has to be said anyways. Now, there was 6.5 years between us, and sometimes there was a deep chasm, because it was difficult to cross at times because we were never in the same school at the same time. My brother Jeff remarked yesterday that he was 5.5 years old, 6.5 years old. It was like we had different sets of parents. When we were growing up, my parents were in a different place, and when he was growing up, they were in a different place, and it was like a whole different world. And it was a lot different, but he always managed to cross the bridge and the chasm between us. Whether it was stories about the kids, and believe me, Mel and Phoebe, we heard so much about you all the time. It was like nonstop. For me being an attorney and he being an attorney, we found a common bond in sharing war stories and talking about cases and clients that we wanted to shoot and things like that. He was always, for a long time, he was very frustrated because he couldn't get his first trial. He was always wanted to go into trial and really, get up there and argue a case. And it was years before he finally got one. And when he finally got one, he was so excited. And he told me all about it. I heard every single detail of his first trial. It was great. And later on, in the last few years, we were able to actually refer cases to each other. My clients needed help in Chicago, his clients needed help in California, and it was great. We could help each other, we could do that. It was a common thing between us, and it was wonderful. But the 6.5 years I had on him, and Jeff's 5.5 years, gave us a God-given right to torture him when he was a child. Now there was no visible marks left on him, although some of them psychological. It was not like what we did to my sister and duct taped her to the kitchen table. We did not do that to him, but we grew up in a very small bedroom, and we had a triple bunk. I think it was 8 by 10. Jeff says it's 9 by 11, but it was small. There was not much oxygen in it. And I was on the top bunk, Jeff was in the middle, and Fred was in the trundle, which pulled out. And every single day, when you get into bed, we push the trundle underneath the bed. Or sometimes I just drop things down from the top. Little things like that. As I got older, because he was so easygoing, it was very difficult to piss him off and really get him angry. But I found a magic way to make him angry. All I had to do was start a conversation that said, the Bears were really stupid to fire Lovie Smith. And, because that set him off. And he would go on for about a half hour about Lovie Smith and the Bears and everything. They say that Fred was stubborn. Well, the black men are sort of stubborn. We are set in our ways a bit. I prefer to call it we were just decisive. We made a decision, we stuck to it, and that's how it was. And Fred was like that. Now, Fred was not a crier. In a way he wasn't. He never cried about himself. He'd cry when he was talking sometimes about his daughters, and he was about his wife. And I really never even saw him shed a tear that often. But then I found out over the last couple of days that he was an absolute ball about watching chick flicks. And it just gave me a whole different perspective of it. Apparently, when people watch a chick flick and the tears would start coming down, even the commercials, he'd start crying. A whole different side of him I never heard before. I think what made me closest to my brother was something I could not articulate until the last couple of days when I was back here talking with family and everything. Fred was not judgmental about anybody. He held himself to a high standard, and if you couldn't meet his standard, that was okay. You know, he knew how to deal with someone at their level, and he knew how to treat people. When they didn't meet his standard, he didn't brush them off. He worked with them. He talked to them. He found a common ground. He accepted them as they were. And that's what endeared him to almost everybody. Some of the fondest memories I had in the last couple of years had to do with Michelle and the girls, and he came out to California around Passover time. And, you know, they had Seder with us. And they brought, oh my God, they brought masks they were wearing and hats. They brought this unbelievable silly songbook that Gary wrote, which took all Passover songs and typed other tunes. It was the greatest time I've ever had in Passover. You know, even going back to days when my Papa Dave used to mumble in Hebrew at the end of the table, and we would all, you know, go through 2-hour seders. It was just absolutely the greatest time we had. We all remember it. Another great memory is about 2 years ago, we had a cousins gathering in Lakeside at their house. And some of our cousins, you know, from California, we came in, other cousin Andy and Harry, and we all got together. And like I said, some of us hadn't seen each other for 25, 30 years all together. And Fred was like the ringmaster. He was the tour guide, he was the concierge, he planned out everything by the hour. We're going to go shooting this hour, we're going to go pick oranges this hour, we're going to apples this. It was absolutely great, you know, and he was just like in his element doing all those things. Most of the memories a lot of us have with him have to do with gambling. Now, you know, he loved to play poker. It's something we got from my dad and from my buddy Sylvia, who were just, you know, fanatical poker players. But a couple stories I had with him on that were, I hosted a celebrity charity poker tournament for the JCC in Orange County, and he would come out, came out about 2 or 3 times. And every single year, I got him seated at the same table with J.K. Simmons, the actor. And every single year, J.K. knocked him out of the tournament. It was like a thing between them, you know, that he was going to knock Fred out of the tournament. He's got a lot of pictures, and Fred always thought it was like a badge of honor that he got knocked out by an Oscar winner. It was great. Some of the other memories we have are at Vegas. You know, we love to play craps together. You know, Jeff, myself, and Fred, we would play craps together. And it was so much fun, you know, because we all played it differently, we all did different things. But I remember one of my fondest memories, there's Jeff, Fred, me, and my dad is standing behind us watching, you know, watching his play craps. What kind of memory is that for a dad? But he absolutely loved it, you know, but he sort of pissed me off a couple times because he had these weird bad seams to make at the grab table. You're always trying to get me to do, if you ever play craps, you know what, he takes a crap check on the come out bro. And he kept saying, put money on the crap check, put money on the crap check. And every time he would do it, it worked out great. Finally, I started doing it because he told me to do it. And I never won once. And he thought that was hysterical. And then I'd stop for a couple rows, it would hit, he would win. Why did you do it? Why did you do it? You know? And if he was here today, he'd probably say, move all these chairs around, get some tables, let's have a poker game. Because that's the way he worked. Such great. The last text I had with him sort of personified him tremendously. And I had just come back from seeing Phoebe in London, and I asked how the trip was, and he said, and I quote, hit the trifecta, fun, family, and sangria. You know, because that's what he lived for. You know, I tried to influence him in other ways that didn't work. I'm a Tool fanatic, he was not. You know, he had a new Dremel sitting in his closet for 2 years, he never used. I taught him how to use it. I did not just love my brother, I truly admired and respected him. I respected him for the brother he was, the husband he was, the father he was, and the friend he was. He was an attorney, but that was what he did. That did not define him. Lastly, I want to thank Michelle. I'll get through this. You took my little brother, an unfinished masterpiece, and you made a good man even better. If I was going to quote Jerry Maguire, I said, "You complete." Thank you for giving him a life full of love, family, and just the right bit of craziness. And most of all, thank you for making him so happy. As for Phoebe and Molly, at Dad's funeral, I quoted a song called "And When I Die." And the chorus of the song goes, "And when I die, and when I'm gone, there'll be one child born in this world to carry on, to carry on." Well, he's got two daughters to carry on. Nothing could fill him with more pride. Two of you. Thank you for shaping him into the dad he was. I'm sure you worked hard at it. He had to be trained a bit, but he got it. It was not supposed to be this way. There's no magic words of comfort I can give to